Sure, you can always shop around for flooring, but in the end, it all leads back to the one place you probably should have started, the experts at Carpet One. Save yourself the time and the hassle and let Carpet One help you find the right product at the right price. Beautifully installed, guaranteed. Come see the One, Carpet One, on the Business Loop in Columbia.
Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, January 6th. We've made it through the first full week of 2017. And we have SEAN SPENCE with us, Mid-Missouri Better Business Bureau in Columbia. It's good to have you here.
It's great to be here, Paul. Thank you.
I've really enjoyed having you on Radio Friends and these doing these segments with you. The information you have is eye-opening.
Yes.
And it's somewhat frightening.
Yes.
Some of the things that you have told us about. Oh, I think it was a couple of months ago when you were telling us about the older lady that got a call saying that she needed to go get some.
To go get gift cards to bail her grandson out of jail.
And she was going out to get those gift cards.
That's exactly right. That has happened several times right here in Columbia.
Yeah, and it was obviously it wasn't for her grandson, but it was somebody trying to take money from her.
That's right.
If something sounds too good to be true when you get a phone call, it probably is. It's too good to be true. You've got a list of things here, but let's touch real quick on the IRS, because you're familiar with that stuff, right?
Oh, it's the biggest kind of scam in the country.
That they will say, somebody will call and say they're from the IRS?
That's right. Yeah, well, what'll very often happen is you'll get a phone call on your cell phone or on your home phone if you have one, and they'll say, I'm with the IRS and you owe money. They often won't say that you haven't paid or whatever. They'll just say you owe money. They'll give you as few details as possible, and they'll say the sheriff is on the way to your house right now.
Unless you pay me right now.
Unless you pay me right now. And I mean, that happens in Columbia all the time. I just literally 3 days ago, I talked to the wife of a husband who had that exact scam happen.
Did he?
He didn't. He was friends with the sheriff, and he drove from his house to the sheriff's office and put them on the phone, and they stayed on the phone with him all that time.
And did he say, wait a minute, I want you to talk to the sheriff?
Yes, he did.
This actually did happen.
It happened right here with Dwayne.
Oh, my.
That's right.
And so what happened then when the sheriff got on the phone and said, I'm not going to arrest this guy?
And that is exactly what the sheriff said. I'm not going to arrest this person on your say-so. I don't know who you are. I don't have any identification. And they literally tried to make it happen. So whoever was on the phone tried to push the sheriff.
Oh, my goodness.
And then, of course, it wasn't going to happen, and on they went. And then the husband was so mad that he'd spent all that time, because he literally spent like 2 hours dealing with this person.
Yeah. Best thing to do is just hang up.
Just hang up. It's not worth the headache.
Right. Okay. Now, here's one. The BBB is warning that medical ID theft is on the rise. How do you prevent that?
Well, it's just something that you have to be careful about and watch out for. Mostly it's pay attention to your accounts. Pay attention to the bills you get, because medical ID, I mean, I think about, I have to go to the hospital on a fairly regular basis for some medical things, and they actually require very little of me. And in fact, they often waive even having my license, and I go in and tell them who I am, and they then give me procedures. And this could absolutely happen, and it does happen all the time, because really I think it's kind of a mix of the HIPAA issues and the privacy issues and wanting to be careful about not violating your privacy, and so there may be a little more lax on the ID issues, and so it just becomes much easier to steal your ID and then go get, medicine or even have procedures done.
Under your name?
Under your name. And so if you're getting bills and you're like, why did I get this bill? I don't understand why I'm getting this hospital bill. You need to pay really close attention to that. And also you might, if you've got a relationship with your local hospital, you want to check and make sure that nothing is going on. It's worthwhile checking every year or so.
And that would be a mess to clean up.
Oh, it is. That's the thing. It is both easier to steal that kind of identity, and it is typically much harder to clean up that kind of problem.
What about, here's another one you've had, claiming to be a tech support. They call you on the phone and what they say that you got a problem with your computer and they can fix it remotely.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this, Paul. This is actually a very common scam, but I personally have received 3 calls about this just in the last couple of weeks. And what happens is somebody calls and they say, I'm with, and honestly, it's usually Microsoft tech support. And they use Microsoft because they know that over 80% of the computer-owning public owns a Microsoft-related computer. And they will call and they will say, I'm with Microsoft tech support. We've gotten a remote signal that there's a problem with your computer. I can fix it for you. All I'm going to need is this information. They'll give you specific things that you can give them from your computer, which will enable them to take remote control of your computer.
Yes.
And then use your computer, steal information off of it. I mean, just really make a big mess.
You know, the first time I had ever experienced remote control with the computer was I had a computer problem. And I called, I think it was Dell. And I called Dell. And they said, well, they needed to look inside the computer and take remote control of it. And they can really do that?
They can.
Well, since I had initiated the call to Dell, I felt secure in letting it do it.
Right.
So you have to do a couple of things to give them control, and then you're sitting there and you're watching your computer do all these things without your hands on it.
Right.
So it is very easy to take control of the computer, isn't it?
It really is. And you point to one of the big solutions to this. If you have an honest, legitimate concern that perhaps there is something wrong with your computer, just say, hey, thank you very much for calling me.
But I will call
back tech support to get this fixed.
Yeah.
And they'll argue with you, but bottom line is, if you call, it's not going to be such a problem. Look up the phone number. Don't take whatever number they give you.
Right. Look up the phone number yourself. And if somebody calls and say they can fix your computer, and you didn't initiate the call, don't do it.
That's right.
Let me ask you about this. On the cell phone, every once in a while, if I'm looking at something, a screen will pop up and it'll say, it'll buzz and it'll say, your Android is infected with a virus at this point.
Wow.
Click here to fix it immediately.
Okay, that actually worries me, Paul, because that is actually a perfect description of a pretty common scam. If it were me and it were my phone,
I'd close it. I
would close it, and I might go to the whoever it is store and have my phone serviced, because that's a really common thing where you, at some point, maybe you've got an email that you've opened or something, and a virus has been uploaded to your phone, because your phone is just like a little computer. And if you get those kinds of things, it can be a problem.
Okay. But the best thing to do is close it, right?
Yeah, just close it. Do not click on something you're not
I've never done that. Hey, Sean, we're out of time, but you got to come back again. If you want more information, you can contact the Better Business Bureau here in Columbia.
That's right.
And Sean, if you feel that you have been contacted by somebody trying to scam you, give them a call.
Please.
All right. Sean Spence, pleasure having you here. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Hope the new year works out well for all of us, all right? Monday, Osher, Lifelong Learning, and the Boone Museum. Drop me an email, something you'd like to hear or see, pepperp, Missouri.edu.